Hey guys, this is for our class for July 8th, and it's class number 10. This unit is about units of measurement and weight and volume, things like that, and converting. So it's a little challenging, but we're going to get through it. And then on Monday, what would Monday be? I don't have my dates in front of me, but Monday we'll have our test starting at 7. So for the first hour at 6 o'clock, we will review. So I'll send a study guide. And then if you guys try it and you send me your answers, I'll send you my answer key. So that would help you but I want you to try it first on your own. And then at 6 o'clock, we will go over the study guide just to remind you of how to do this stuff before your test at 7 o'clock. All right, so here we go. So the first question says that Barry is starting a woodworking project. He measures carefully and finds that he needs 8 pieces of wood that are each 18 inches long. He heads to the lumber store and finds that the shortest sections of the wood he needs are sold in lengths of 2 feet. When he buys the 8 pieces, how many inches will he have to remove from each one? All right, so in order to answer a question like this and others that we look at, we're going to remember how to convert. And so these are the measurements that we use here in the United States. We're on standard units. You know, most of the world is on metric units, but you know, we're familiar with inches and feet, yards, miles, ounces, pounds, tons, and then for area, we use mostly square inches, square feet, square yards, square miles, so on and so forth. And so hopefully you guys, most of you know these conversions at the bottom of the screen. You know that 12 inches are in a foot. Hopefully you know that there's 3 feet for every yard. A lot of people don't know the 1 mile equals 528 feet. There's a little saying, I forget what it is exactly, but something like I ate 5 tomatoes. So 5280 feet in a mile. So I don't know if that helps you remember or not. All right, so also these are units for volume and time. So all of these should be very familiar to you. Okay, so I don't think we even answered the question. All right, so anyway, what about Barry? So Barry, he needs 18 pieces of wood that are 18 inches long. He heads to the lumber store and finds that the shortest sections of the wood he needs are sold in lengths of 2 feet. When he buys the 8 pieces, how many inches will he have to remove from each one? All right, so if we look at the lengths that are 2 feet each, here we go. So 2 feet, so how many inches? One of these units is feet and the other one is in inches. So if we want to convert 2 feet to inches, well, there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So 1 foot equals 12 inches right here. So if we have 2 feet, then we're simply going to multiply 2 times 12. So 2 feet is equal to 24 inches. So he has 24 inches, and he needs each piece of wood 18 inches long. So for each piece of wood that he buys, he needs to cut away 6 inches from each of them. So that's the answer. When he buys the 8 pieces he needs, how many inches will he have to remove from each? So he needs 6 inches from each piece of wood. All right, so moving on, we are going to convert pounds to ounces, 10 yards to feet, and then pints to cups. So looking back at the conversions that I just shared with you for pounds to ounces, so this is the one that I need. So if I have 4 pounds, what am I going to do to figure out how many ounces that is? Where I'm going to multiply 16 times 4. And when I multiply that on my calculator, I get 64 ounces. So 64 ounces is equivalent to 4 pounds, because every pound is 16 ounces. All right, so then what about the next one? So 10 yards equals how many feet? Well, if you go back to the tables, what do we know about feet and yards? Well, on the conversion table, we're told that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So now we have 10 yards. So how do we figure out how many feet 10 yards are? So we're going to multiply 10 yards times 3 feet. So 10 yards is equal to 30 feet, exact same distance. And what about pints to cups? Pints to cups. So there are how many cups in a pint? So if you go back to your conversion table, you'll find that there are 2 cups that make up 1 pint. So if I have 2.4 pints, how many cups is that? So 2.4 times 2 is 4.8. So 2.4 pints is equal to 4.8 cups. Okie dokie. All right, so let's look at the next one. I can't really read those. I have a bar across the words, but it says Sarah needs 1.5 cups of ketchup to make her famous meatloaf recipe. She has a brand new 20-ounce bottle of ketchup in her cupboard. How much of this 20 ounces will she need for her meatloaf? How much of this bottle will she need if she needs 1.5 cups? All right, so we need to remember back on our conversions that let me pull it up. So 1 cup is equal to 8 ounces. So 1 cup is equal to 8 ounces, and we have 1.5 cups. So to go from cups to ounces, we simply multiply by 8. 1.5 cups times 8 ounces per cup. That gives us 12 ounces. So you just multiply 1.5 cups times 8 ounces because there's 8 ounces per cup. So she will need 12 ounces of, the question is how much of this? So she'll need 12 ounces of the 20-ounce bottle. That's the answer. She will need 12 ounces of the 20-ounce bottle. All right, the next section, let me get rid of this a little bit, the bottom. Let's read the next one. It says the following examples illustrate additional basic conversions within the United States system. A modified form of the conversion process will be used for these problems. So example 3 says to write 6 inches in feet and inches. So what do we know about inches and feet? Well, we know that there are 12 inches per foot. So if I have 26 inches and I want to go from inches to feet, we're actually going to say, well, we're going to divide 26 by 12. How many whole times will 12 go into 26? Well, 12 will go into 26. 2 whole times. Oops. 2 whole times. So that means there are 2 full feet in 26 inches. But then we also want to know how many inches are left. Well, 12 times 2 is 24, which means there are 2 inches left. So 26 inches in feet and inches is equal to 2 feet, 2 inches. 2 feet, 2 inches. That's how much we have when we convert it. All right, the next one says write 5 pounds, 6 ounces in ounces, okay? So what do we know about pounds and ounces? Well, the conversion table told us that there are 16 ounces in every pound. So now we have 5 pounds. So if we have 5 pounds, first thing we're going to do is multiply 16 ounces times 5 because there's 16 ounces per foot. So 16 times 5 is 80 ounces. But then we also have to add the 6 extra ounces we had. So the answer is 86 ounces total. So 5 pounds, 6 ounces is equivalent to 86 ounces. Example 5, we want to write 30 months in what unit? In months and years. Okay, so what do we know about months and years? Well, we know that there's 12 months per year. So if we have 30 years, we want to know how many full years we get in 30 months. Well, 30 divided by 12, that'll go 2 whole times. So 2 times 12, that's 24 months, so 2 years. But it's not exactly 2 years because 12 times 2 is 24, which means how many months are left over? So 24 months from 30 months is 6 months. All right, hope that makes sense. All right, example 6, write 1 minute and 20 seconds in seconds only, Well, here's 20 seconds. We have to figure out how many more seconds to add if we have 1 minute. Well, what do we know about minutes and seconds? Well, we do know that there's 60 seconds per minute. So this minute is the same as 60 seconds plus this 20 seconds. So altogether we have 80 seconds. So that's how we would convert that. All right, moving on. So now I would like for you guys to try. So I want you guys to try, we have A, B, C, D, and E. So you guys go ahead and pause the video and try these and then come back and check your answer, please. All right, so for lesson 9 practice problems, it says 1A, does it take more cups or gallons to measure the amount of water in a large pot? All right, so we have a cup. If we have 2 cups, that's a pint, right? If we have 2 pints, that's a quart. So a quart is made up of 4 cups. And then if we have 4 quarts, that's 16 cups, right? It would take 16 cups to equal 1. Did I say quart? I meant gallon. There are 16 cups in a gallon. There's 4 cups in a quart, and there's 2 cups in a pint. So the question is, does it take more cups or more gallons? Does it take more cups or gallons to measure the amount of water in a large pot? So obviously the answer is cups. It would take much more cups than gallons to measure the amount of water in a large pot. All right, so the next one says the lifespan of a common housefly is about 8 days. How many hours are in 8 full days? Well, what do we know about hours and days? We know that there's 24 hours per day. So if we have 8 days, oh my word. So if we have 8 days, that means we're going to multiply 24 hours times 8. That's 32, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we have 192 hours in 8 days, 192 hours. All right, letter C, a 10K run-in race is about 6.2 miles. How many feet is this? Assuming that the average person's step is 3 feet long, how many steps are traveled when covering a 10K? All right, so we got 2 separate questions. So the first question is, how many feet is 6.2 miles? So we know that 1 mile is equal to 5,280 feet. Okay, I ate 5 tomatoes. I ate 5 tomatoes. Anyway, so if we want to convert miles, 6.2 miles to feet, then we're going to multiply 6.2 times 5,280. And I already multiplied this out. We get 32,736 feet. So the first question, how many feet is this? The answer is 32,736 feet. So that's the first question. The second question is, the average person's step is 3 feet long. So every time you take one step, on average, is 3 feet long. How many steps would this be? So what would we do to answer the second question? Well, we would divide our 32,000 feet by 3 to figure out about how many steps we'd have to take. So on my calculator, I divide 32,736 by 3, and the answer is 10,912 steps. 10,912 steps. I think that's what we all strive for in a day, about 10,000 steps, right? So that's about 6.2 miles. No, it's not. Yes, it is. It's about 6.2 miles if we take that many steps. All right. Letter D, Tally the cat is 10.5 pounds. Let me change colors. I'll go to blue. All right, Tally the cat is 10.5 pounds. How many ounces is this? Well, what do we know about ounces and pounds? We know that 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. Now, if you don't remember all this, that's fine. You have the tables on my PowerPoints. You can keep going back and looking at the table that have the units on it to figure out what we're multiplying or dividing by. So if 1 pound is 16 ounces and we have 10.5 pounds, then we're going to multiply 10.5 times 16. I put that in my calculator and I get 168 ounces. 168 ounces. Got it? All right, and then let me get rid of all of this so we can see the next question about Frederica. So it says Frederica's house gate is 45 inches. How many feet is this? And it wants us to use decimal. So it's very important to figure out how they want it. They want it in mixed numbers, or they want decimals, what do they want? All right, so what do we know about inches and feet? We know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. Well, if 1 foot is equal to 12 inches and we have 45 inches, that means we're going to divide our inches by 12. It doesn't want us to divide it out into feet and inches this time. It wants us to use decimals. So we're simply throwing that right there in our calculator. So 45 divided by 12, the answer is 3.75. 3.75 feet. So does that mean 3 feet, 75 inches? No, that is not what that means. It's 75% of a foot, right? So that would be 8 inches. All right, so how'd y'all do? Y'all do good? I hope so. All right, so going on, now we're talking about some conversions that require more than 1 step. So it says, see how the single step conversion process is expanded in use or in each of the following problems. So going forth, we're going to have to do more than 1 conversion, right? All right, so the first thing, so what we're trying to figure out is how many minutes are in a week. Well, what do we know about minutes? Minutes, we know how many minutes are in an hour. Do we know a relationship between hours and days? Yes, we do. All right, so let's start with a week. So 1 week is equal to 7 days, right? And 1 day is equal to 24 hours, right? And 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So if we have 7 days and every day has 24 hours and every hour has 60 minutes, then to figure out how many minutes are in a week, we have to multiply 7 days times 24 hours times 60 minutes to finally get the right conversion. So here's our 7 days. Each day has 24 hours and each hour has 60 minutes. So if we multiply 7 times 24 times 60, we get a lot of minutes. We get 10,080 minutes. So what if it said how many seconds are in a week? What would we do with these minutes? Well, since there's 60 seconds every minute, we would multiply this number times 60. So that would be an even bigger number. All right, so example 8. So our answer is 10,080, by the way. Brian needs 10 cups of fruit juice to make sangria. How many quarts of juice should he buy at the store? So 10 cups. So I drew that little picture earlier, right? So how many quarts? So what do we know about cups and quarts? From the little picture I drew earlier, how many cups are in a quart? Well, 1 cup, so 2 cups is 1 pint, and 2 pints is 1 quart. So 2 pints equals 4 cups. So there are 4 cups for every quart, right? So since there's 4 cups in 1 quart, and Brian has 10 cups, we're going to divide 10 cups by 4, and 4 goes into 10 twice with 2 left over. So 2 1/4, which is 2 1/2, 2 2/4, which is equal to 2 1/2. So if you go to the store, I wonder if you can buy 2 1/2 quarts. Probably not. Probably you'd have to buy a whole quart. So probably Brian, in order to have enough, he doesn't want to go not have enough. He wants to have enough or a little extra. Brian probably needs to buy 3 quarts. Because if he just bought 2, he won't have enough. So the answer is, since he needs 2 1/2 quarts, he's probably going to have to buy 3 quarts at the grocery store. Oh, and that was my conversion. Yeah, so 1 cup is 8 ounces. So 1 pint is 2 cups. Since 1 pint is 2 cups and a quart is 2 pints, that means there's 4 cups in a quart. Okay, conversions are a little tricky, you guys, but the more we practice, the better we'll get. All right, Raldo. I don't know why I can't see all these the way my little screen looks. Raldo measured a room at 10 feet long and 10 feet wide. 9 feet long and 10 feet wide to get an area measurement of 90 square feet because area is length times width. He wants to carpet the room with new carpet, which is measured in square yards. Raldo knows that 1 yard is equivalent to 3 feet, so he ordered 30 square yards of carpet. The question is, did he order the correct amount? Well, that seems sensible, doesn't it? If we have 1 yard is equal to 3 feet, and we divide 90 by 3, and we got 30, that seems like it might work, but we better check the math, right? We better check the math. All right, so we started out with feet. So originally, the room was 9 feet. This thing hates curvy 9s. 9 feet by 10 feet. And the way we got 90 square feet is we multiplied 9 feet times 10 feet. So 9 feet times 10 feet is 90 feet squared. 90 feet squared. So if we're converting our measurements to yards, we know that 3 feet equals 1 yard. Are you with me? So 9 feet would be how many yards? Well, 9 divided by 3 is 3 yards. Okay. Well, 10 feet, so 10 divided by 3, since it's a non-terminating decimal, let's just leave it as 10/3 yards. Because that's what we did here, right? We divided 9 by 3. Same thing here, we're dividing 10 by 3. So for square yards, just like when they were feet, to get area, you multiply length times width. 9 times 10 is 90 feet squared. So to get square yards, I would multiply yards times yards. So I would multiply 3 yards, I'm just making it a fraction, times 10/3 of a yard. And that should give me the area in square yards, because I'm multiplying 3 yards times 10/3 yards, and I'm going to get something yards squared. So 3 times 10 is 30. 1 times 3 is 3. So 30 divided by 3 is 10. So Raldo only needed 10 squared yards. He ordered 30 square yards. Guess what? Raldo's going to have a whole lot left over. He ordered 3 times too much. Raldo ordered 3 times too much. So Raldo wasted his money. He got 3 times too much. So his math, even though on the surface it sounded like it made sense, it wasn't correct. All right, so let me get rid of all this. You guys try. I have try on this slide, and I have try on the next slide. So you guys try, and there's, yeah, so there's all the way to letter E on the next slide. So you guys pause the video and try the rest of this slide and the next slide, and then come back and see how you do. All right, so for you try number 10, it says a young girl paced off the length of her room as approximately 8 feet. How many inches would that be? Well, what do we know about feet and inches? We know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. And if we have 8 feet, we're simply going to multiply 12 inches times 8, and we get 96 inches. And that's the answer. All right, 18 ounces to pounds. Ounces to pounds. We've done ounces and pounds several times. So we know there's 16 ounces in 1 pound. So if we have 18 ounces, we have just over a pound, don't we? So we would divide 18 by 16. Well, 16 goes into 18 one whole time with 2 left over. So basically we have 1 1/8 pounds. Oh, I'm so sorry. The directions say to round to the nearest tenths, which means they don't want a mixed number. They want a decimal. That's what that means. So in my calculator, I'm going to divide 18 by 16. 18 divided by 16, and it's 1.125. 1.125. My pen. 1.125. It says round to the nearest tenths. So I look at the number in the hundredths. So it'd be 1.1 pounds. 1.1 pounds. All right, here we have yards is how many feet? Well, we know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet, right? So what are we going to do? We are going to multiply 100 yards times 3. So 100 yards is equal to 300 feet. 300 feet. All right, letter D, how many? This is pounds and tons. So how many pounds are in 1 ton? So there are 2,000 pounds in 1 ton. So we have over 10,000 pounds. So what would we do to figure out how many tons that is? Well, we're going to divide. I'm just going to make this a division fraction right here. 10,235 divided by 2,000, 10,235 divided by 2,000. It doesn't go evenly. It's 5.11. So 5.11 rounded to the nearest tenths is 5.1. Okay, that was letter D. So then letter E, let me change colors. Go back to red. All right, so how many feet are in 6 feet 8 inches? Oh, excuse me, how many inches are in 6 feet 8 inches? Well, here's our inches. Now we convert how many inches are 6 feet. Well, 1 foot has 12 inches, right? So we would multiply 12 times 6, which is 72. 72 plus our 8 extra inches. So the answer is 8 inches. Excuse me, 80 inches. 80 inches is the right answer. All right, and then letter F. How many square inches are in 10 square feet? How many square inches? Okay, I need some more space. So I'm going to erase all this. Hopefully you already got all that. Let me get rid of everything. All right, so how many square inches are in 10 square feet? So this is area. 10 square feet is where you have multiplied length times width. So how would we get 10? There's different ways we could get 10, right? We could get 10 square feet by having a box that's 1 foot by 10 feet. So 1 foot by times 10 feet is 10 square inches, right? We could also get 10 square feet if we did 2 feet times 5 feet. Isn't that 10 squared feet, right? So basically, it wants us to convert these feet to square inches. Well, if I have 1 foot, that means I have 12 inches, right? If I have 10 feet, well, 10 times 12 is 120 inches. So now to get the area of 10 inches by 120 inches, I'm going to multiply 120 times 12. 120 inches times 12 inches is 1,440 inches, and inches times inches is inches squared. Well, let's see if it worked out the same way. What if I used different measurements? What if I did 2 feet and 5 feet? Well, how many inches are in 2 feet? Well, that'd be 24 inches. How many inches are in 5 feet? Well, 5 times 12 is 60 inches. So now to find the area with a 24 inch by 60 inch, I would multiply 60 times 24, and I would still get the answer 1,440 inches squared. So that's how many squared inches are in 10 square feet. So when you multiply 2 dimensions, it's more than just multiplying 10 times 12, right? 10 times 12 is 120, but look at our answer. Our answer is really big. So got to be careful when we're finding area, because you're multiplying 2 different dimensions. All right, so hopefully y'all got those right. So moving on. It says if you were born on January 1st, 1980 at 12 o'clock and measured time until January 1st, 2013 at 12 o'clock, how many minutes would you have been alive? Well, let's see how old you are. So if it's 2013 and you were born in 1980, 8, 9, 10, 11, you are 33 years old, okay? So we know that this person is 33 years old. How many minutes would we be alive? Well, how do we get from minutes all the way to years? What do we know about years? Well, we do know that 1 year is equivalent to how many days? 365. All right, what do we know about days? Well, we know that 1 day is how many hours? 24 hours. And what do we know about hours and minutes? Well, we know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So to figure out how many years I mean, to figure out how many minutes 33 years are. So if we have 1 year, that's 365 days, but we have 33 years. So we have to multiply 33 years times 33 years times each year times 365 days per year. Well, each one of those days has 24 hours, and each one of those hours has 60 minutes. So this is a big, long multiplication problem. So when we get our calculator and we multiply all those numbers, 33 times 365 times 24 times 60, we get this great big number of 17,344,800 minutes. Wow. That's a lot of minutes. 17 million minutes in 33 years. So those of us over 33, those of us over 43, we have lived millions and millions and millions of minutes. All right, so then letter B, it says how many centuries are in 164,250 days? Well, it's hard to jump just straight from days to centuries, but I know that we can go from days to years. So I know that 1 year is how many days? 365 days. Of course, we're not talking about leap years, right? So then I want to know, okay, so how many years is 164,250 days? Well, if there are all these days divided into chunks of 365, if I divide that in my calculator, 164, 250 divided by 365, I get 449.9726, I'll stop right there, years. So this many days is 449 years, almost 450 years. But then it says 1 century is 100 years. So how many centuries does this make? Well, I need to divide this number, almost 450, by 100. So when I divide that out, I get about 4.5 centuries. About 4.5 centuries. Okay. All right, a container measures, I'm going to erase all this so I have a little bit more room for letter C. A container measures 16 inches in length by 2 feet in width by 1 yard in height. If volume is found by multiplying length times width times height, we're going to find the volume of the container in cubic feet. So volume means we have a 3-dimensional box. 3-dimensional boxes have length, width, and height. So first, let's see what we want to do. So the question is, how many feet, how many cubic feet are we going to have, right? Well, we do know that there are how many feet? Let's see. Find the volume of the container in cubic feet. All right, so we want to turn these inches and yards into feet. We want to use only one measurement, right? Well, this one's already feet. So I'm going to let one of these units be 2 feet. Well, how many inches is 16? How many feet is 16 inches? Well, if there's 12 inches in 1 foot, that means, let's see, I can divide both of these by 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So since 1 1/3 is a non-terminating decimal, I'm going to leave one length. Let's do this length as 4, or basically this is 1 1/3. 4/3 of a foot. 4/3 of a foot. And then the other side is 1 yard. Well, how many feet is 1 yard? Well, there's 3 feet in 1 yard. So we'll let the bottom right here, we'll let the bottom right here be 3 feet. So basically what we did, we had 3 different measurements. We had yards, feet, and inches, and we converted them to what the question is. Since the question wants the answer in feet, we converted all of these dimensions to feet, and now it tells us to find the volume. We multiply length times width times height. So we're going to multiply 2 times 3 times 4/3. Well, look what cancels here. My 3's cancel each other, right? So basically the answer is 8 feet, but I multiplied feet times feet times feet. So what do I get? Feet cubed, or cubic feet, 8 cubic feet. Volumes are always given in cubed units. Does that make sense? Because we're multiplying feet times feet times feet, we get feet squared, or feet cubed. All right, that was letter C. Now we're looking at letter D. It says, so I'm gonna get rid of this. I have my work everywhere, so y'all wrote all that down, or you have it on the video. All right, Jose's company measures their gains in 1,000s of dollars. If his company earned $6.2 million in gains, how many thousands of dollars is this? So basically, we're converting 6.2 million into groups of thousands. Well, 6.2 million, so basically that means 6,200,000. So I'm just going to write out 6,200,000. And I want to divide it into how many groups of 1,000. So basically, I'm just moving my decimal. To divide by 1,000, you're just moving your decimal 3 places to the left. Or other words, I can mark off equal sets of 0. So my answer is 6,200 dollars. That's not $6,200, that's 6,200 thousands, which is the same as 6.2. But since they measure it in thousands of dollars, their growth is 6,200. Okay, that's a little confusing. All right, and then let's talk about Tara. Tara's pool is 50 yards in length and 20 feet in width. How many square feet is the first question. The second question is how many square yards. So for the first question, we'll convert both measurements into feet and then multiply length times width. And then the second question, we'll convert everything to yards and then multiply length times width. All right, so for the pool, that is feet. All right, we have 50 yards by 20 feet. So we already know this one's feet. Now, how many feet are in 50 yards? What, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. And we have 50 yards, right? So we're going to multiply 50 times 3, and we get 150 feet. So then to find the area, square feet, is 150 feet times 20 feet, 150 feet times 20 feet. And that is what? 3,000. And feet times feet is feet squared. So that is how many square feet her pool is. The next question is how many square yards? Well, let's draw her measurements with yards, not feet. Well, 50 yards is easy. That one's already here. All right, so then 20 feet, well, since there's 3 feet for every yard, we're going to show in yards, we would basically divide 20 by 3. That is not going to be a whole number. So let's leave it as 20/3 yards. So then to get the square feet, we're going to multiply 50 times 20. So we can multiply straight across and we get 1,000. 1 times 3 is 3. So then in my calculator, I can divide 1,000 by 3. And my answer is 3. So it'd be 333. You could put 0.33 square yards, or there's a remainder of 1. And that would be yards squared. 333 1/3 yards squared. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a little break and then we'll come back and do the next little video. So hopefully you guys got those right.